this day. This is a startling new study on professional football. 96% of former players who donated their brains to science after they died testing positive for a disease linked to concussions. Former NFL quarterback Fran Tarkenton told me earlier today the game's getting so dangerous he wouldn't let his grandson play. Roll tape.
My son just took his son out of football. I would take my son out of football. It's too dangerous. And it's getting worse. And we were in denial for years and saying that the head contact concussions didn't cause CTE. We now know in this last study, 96%. It's epidemic.
That's Fran Tarkenton, one of the greats. Joining us now, another Hall of Famer, quarterback Joe Theismann. Joe, you heard what Fran Tarkenton had to say. That was pretty strong stuff. He wouldn't let his own son or grandson play the game. Where do you stand on this?
Well, Stuart, my opinion is I think there's teachings and technologies that can help in that area. Certainly the studies prove that there is an issue and there's a problem, and it's being addressed by the National Football League as well as Pop Warner Football. But there are technologies that are available to try and aid in helping kids continue to be able to participate in football. I think there's a positive aspect to team sports. And I ask parents all the time, if you're not going to let them participate in youth football, what would they do? Well, soccer is the option, but what do you hit with a soccer ball? You hit your head. And so when you really start to look at the elements that are a part of the concussion situation, it's a very complex, very unique situation. I would encourage my children, my grandchildren, to play football. But I would also be concerned about the teaching of the techniques and the technology that's available to protect them. So it's something that I don't think will go away, but it certainly warrants an awful lot of discussion.
What about changing the equipment, specifically the helmets? Fran Tarkenton made the point that today's helmet is like a missile, and you can launch yourself at somebody else and really do some damage because of the nature of the helmet. He suggested, why don't you go to leather helmets? I believe that's the way it was many, many years ago. And some people suggest, why don't you go the way of rugby? Not many concussions in rugby, and yet you've got no padding and no headgear whatsoever. Do you think maybe that a change in equipment is coming and that might help the game?
Well, I think there are things that are available inside the helmets. Technology, there's a company out there called Unequal, for example, that creates a technology that hopefully will reduce the concussions that exist. So there are different aspects of this whole thing. I think removing the helmet certainly isn't the answer. And Fran's right to a large degree that when you put a helmet on that you feel is safe, you're going to use it as far as you can and use it for whatever you need to get the job done. But I still think that you can't just eliminate the game completely and take away an element of education, working together as a part of a team, learning how to cooperate, learning how to win, learning how to lose, taking authority from people other than your parents. I think there's so many different elements out there that are positive elements when it comes to football that we have to also concern ourselves with the safety part of it, but then look at the positive aspects of participation in the sport as well.
Last one. You got about 20 seconds for this. Japan beat South Africa in the World Rugby Championships. That doesn't mean a thing to you, does it?
No, it really doesn't, to be honest with you, but I like Japan in this one.
Sure. Where you been, Joe? Where you been? Joe Theismann, everybody. We respect and admire you. Thanks for being with us, sir. Appreciate it.